Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Well, we got just another little project in the shop here. We got to build a couple of metal doors, 2 foot by 4 foot for a 4 foot square concrete vault in a commercial building. Let me finish getting the material up on the workbench. We get started. Okay, so here's the concrete vault that we're talking about, and these are the doors that I need to make for this. The existing doors and angle iron that were around the perimeter of this is all rotted and gone away. So I've already installed the angle iron, some stuff I had left over at my shop. So everything is nice and square, and based on that we can be able to make some dimensions and measurements of what we need, take it back to shop to build some doors. So let's do it. Okay, so these are going to be made out of 2 inch, or I should say 1 3/4 inch, 1 3/4, 1 3/4 inch square tube 120 wall, which is 1/8 of an inch thick. And we're going to make them roughly 2 foot by 4 foot. We're going to have a little detail in one of them, and then we're going to weld some diamond plate on the top. So let's get started. So I started by getting everything we needed up on the welding table and cutting everything out. Pretty simple, basically just some 4 foot pieces, some 2 foot pieces, and some smaller pieces. And once I got almost everything that I needed, I took it over to the belt sander and just deburred everything. You know, it's nice. This belt sander works really good for that. You know, just getting everything deburred, it just makes for a better fit up when you are getting ready to do the welding and stuff. It's pretty cool, and that works out really good. And so we're ready to get started here. Okay, so this metal cutoff saw is awesome. It's probably one of the best tools that I have in my shop. It cuts metal very accurately, efficiently, and does it very quickly. There's only one drawback to having a cutoff saw like this, is that they spread metal chips all over the place. I mean, I literally have metal chips 10, 15 feet away in every direction all over the place. Now, the saw does provide a little tray right here to catch the metal chips, but you know, really, it catches about 1/10 what actually goes all over the place. So, anyways, let's get everything all cleaned up, and we'll be ready to start welding. So we're going to start welding these things together right here, and since I've got a lot of corners right here, this is a perfect job for the Yoast corner vise. Now I've got this thing from Yoast here about a year ago, and I got to tell you, I've used it quite a bit, and it makes for very fast and precise work. Let me show you how it works. Basically, you just drop your metal right in here like this. Drop it right in there like that. This is a 1 inch offset right here, so I got a couple 1 inch spacers. I just got some wood spacers. Just lift this up like this, and this up like this. Now you could use anything you want, but once you do that, you just slide everything into position right here and get it as square as you can. And when you tighten the vise just squares everything up perfectly. And there it is. And that's providing your 45s are cut nice and perfect and clean. And these look like they are, and I've tightened the vise up a little bit, and look at that, perfectly square. All right, so we're finally getting everything tacked together right here, and I can't say enough about this corner vise from Yoast. You know, there's so many angles right here. This particular one is just just the forward, but the other one I've got so many different angles, ins and outs, and I just used that corner vise for every one of them, and I gotta say it was an absolute perfect 90 degrees. And by the time I got all the way around to the other side, it fit in there absolutely perfect. And, you know, it's a good time saver, saves a lot of time and a lot of energy, and, makes everything nice, perfectly square. That's a good product there from Yoast, so I'm glad that I have that. And we're just finishing up here. This is the one that's a little bit more complicated with the little area that we need for, I guess, the hydrant itself that sticks out of the vault. And once we did that, get everything just welded out, and just welding and welding and welding, getting every joint welded out. And that's kind of the fun part, I guess. But, everything, using this thick wall material, it just stays together and nice and true. There's very minimal warpage, and once you get everything done, the only bad part about this is you're having to grind all the welds that you just did. But ultimately, we got it all done. Worked out pretty good.
Okay, so I got the first door here all grinded down and smoothed out. There's one thing I want to point out here. I'm going to show you something here in a minute. It's really hot here today, and I'm in my shop and I'm welding, and right behind the camera I've got two big windows, and both those windows are open and the wind is blowing right in here. So nothing ever good happens when you're trying to weld and the wind is blowing right in and blowing the gas off your welds. And this is what it looks like when that happens right over here. And that's not what it's supposed to look like. It's kind of supposed to look like this over here. But when the wind blows that gas off the welds, that's what you get. No big deal. We're gonna get it all covered up and we're gonna go from there. This is the first piece of diamond plate right here. And we're just gonna get this thing squared up on here and get her tacked down. And this door, the first one, is almost complete. This is the easy one. A little bit harder one coming up next.
And I'm just stitch welding these things about 1.5 welds about every 8 inches apart, and I think that's all we need for that. I also got some welds on the inside as well. And just did the necessary grinding as I needed to.
All right, so I have one of the access doors here complete. I just need to get the hinge welded on it, and right at the last minute, I just got a phone call from the owner of the building and said, don't forget to put the little hatch in the front so the guys can read the meter, I guess. So basically, it's a 6-inch square that's going to go on the top here. We'll probably cut a little ring in it so they can lift this thing up and put it on a hinge. And so they can look in there and actually read the meter that's underneath this section of the vault. That'll save them having to lift the doors completely up to do that. So let's get this thing measured out and take the plasma cutter and cut it out.
Okay, in case you were wondering, I did get exact dimensions from the owner here of the location of where it needed to go in this panel. I just didn't randomly cut a hole in the top there. So there was a specific place where it needed to go. And so we're just cutting this out with the plasma cutter, and once I got that cut out, just grinding up the edges, and I'm finding out that this diamond plate's a little bit difficult to work with, whether you're plasma cutting or you're grinding. I think there's two different surfaces there. It makes it a little bit difficult, but anyways, we're getting her done, and once I got everything all ground down, I'm gonna flip the thing over here, and I had to put a hole in it, and this is another great opportunity I have for my DEWALT mag drill right here. As you can see, I just plopped it right up there, found the hole I needed, and I went ahead and just drilled out. It's a perfect, precise hole. This is an awesome piece of equipment, and this is perfect for situations like this right here. So here I am. I'm just cutting some backing straps right here. You'll see that I had to have something to keep the door from falling through completely. So this is what I thought of here at the spur of the moment. I just welded some 1/8-inch strap on with about a quarter or 3/8 reveal to the inside, and that's what's going to hold the door from falling through. Actually worked out pretty good. I'm going to flip this thing over right here. There's the door, and I had a piece of piano hinge left over in the shop. It's kind of thin, but you know what? I think it worked out pretty good. I just spot welded it on there with quite a few welds and got it into place, and there it is. Perfect. Door worked awesome. So the next thing is getting the hinge put on here, and it's important that this thing gets right where it needs to be. So I took my time and got everything all lined up, and once I did that, I clamped everything into position, and then I just went ahead and stitch weld this thing again. 1.5-inch beads, about every 6 to 8 inches apart, I think is totally adequate here. Once I got that out of the way, this is the second door, and we're sitting here grinding and prepping it for hinges.
Well, just when you think everything is going good and the project is moving along nicely, I done made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes, and I'm glad I caught this one. When I did, it could have been a lot worse. I'll tell you what happened. I got the first door complete, and I had an opening as 49 inches square So I did my measurements, and I figured I would make each door 24 inches. That's 48 inches. That's giving me about 3/8 of an inch here, about 3/8 for the gap in between the two doors when they close, and maybe another 3/8 at the end down there. I had a little adjustment. I had a little room, which I thought I did. And I didn't know what kind of hinges I'd be using at the time. And these are the ones I decided to go with. And they're pretty big size piano hinges here. But they also total about 5/8 of an inch thick here. And so that is the difference on the end here when I welded these hinges on. You know, I thought about it and I measured that door, and when I put this one next to it and found out that it was much wider than the opening I had, that I'm actually going to have to cut this thing down about 1 inch. So I don't think it's going to be a factor in terms of, I know it's not aesthetics, because we're going to be putting diamond plate on the top of this thing, so you're never going to see where we shortened it up here. But strength-wise as well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut it right in the middle right here, take 1 inch out, and I've got a piece of 1.5" square tube 095 wall here, and this is the 2-inch 1.75" square tube, 1/8 inch thick. This is what we're using for this, and this thing will fit in here if I force this on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some 3/8 sleeves right here. So when I do cut this in half, we'll drive these sleeves halfway in and then sandwich these two back together. And then when I make the weld all the way around, it's going to give it the strength back. But it's not like anybody's going to be standing on these things. It's not going to really matter. It's not going to go anywhere anyway. But the alternative could have been much worse. I'm glad I caught it when I did. Because if I would have put it all together and welded the diamond plate on here and been complete and went and tried to install it and found out it didn't work, I'd probably have to completely rebuild this door section here. And this one was a little complicated with everything. So, hey, I'm glad I caught it when we did, so let's get it fixed.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.